Salvete discepoli. So this video will be on the Exercitia Latina. We're not going to look at all of the Exercitia. Why am I saying all of the Exercitia instead of all of the Exercitias? Well, that's because exercitium, I'm going to write it up here. Exercitium means exercise, an exercise. And so the plural of exercitium is exercitia, just like oppidum becomes oppida in the plural. And so when I say these exercitia, I am saying a plural. So exercitium unum is choosing between the word est and the word sunt. Est means is, and sunt means are. We use est when we're talking about what one thing is or where one thing is. And we use sunt when we're talking about what multiple things are, like multiple things are islands or multiple things are rivers, or where multiple things are. And so we're reading this. Now, a mistake that some students make is to say, oh, I see the word Italia, I see the word Europa. I see two things, therefore I should put sunt. No, because this is saying Italy either is or are in Europe. So we're not talking about what Europe or where Europe is. We're talking about only where Italy is. Italia in Europa est. Gallia in Europa est. Because we're talking about only Gallia. So that's how you would complete this exercise. Try to identify, are they talking about one thing or more than one thing? Italia et Gallia. Now there's your key word here. That's probably going to indicate that you need to use sunt. Italia et Gallia in Europa sunt. Okay, so those are your first three on that one. And so in this video, I'm just going to go through and do the first few, walk you through how you should think through the different questions in a given exercise, and then move on to the next one. This video should get you started anytime you might have an assignment to do a particular exercitium. All right, in this one, you have a word bank. And in class, we discovered that I think it appears that something in this word bank will need to be used twice, and maybe something not at all. Maybe a couple things used twice. So don't think of it too rigidly. Okay, you may put what you think makes sense from this word bank, and mostly everything's going to get used once. Okay, Italia blank Europa est. Okay, I know Italy is in Europe, so probably, well, there's the is in the back, so don't put est just because Italy is, right? Because there's our est. Oh, we don't have est anyway, do we? Over here. Italia in Europa est. Do we have in? Yes. And when I cross it out, I'm going to just cross it out so I can read it still, just in case I might need it a second time, and then I can see that it was an option. Italia blank Grecia in Europa sunt. Okay. What do I do when I have two things again? Oh, it's that et. So again, I'm going to cross it out. Est blank Barabia in Europa. That's something that I would do if I were you. I would read it out loud, and then I would say blank. Est blank Barabia in Europa. Okay, and then one thing on here that's not a word is this ne. You guys remember what the ne does in Latin? The ne makes something a question. When we tack it on a word, it makes that sentence, what otherwise would have just been a fact, right? It makes it into a question. So if I said Arabia in Europa est, that means Arabia is in Europe, which it's not. But looks like it's a question, so this ne is needed here, and it's not a separate word, it's actually attached to the est. Estne, that means is. Est means is, but estne means is. Estne Arabia in Europa. Arabia in Europa blank est. non est. Oops, missed a blank here. Italia in Europa est. Grecia blank in Europa est. Well, it looks like Grecia in Europa est. The whole thing is there. So what do I need a blank for? Non est ubi in ubi sed quoque. Quoque means also. So Grecia quoque in Europa est. These sentences also come right from our book. And so giving the book a little read, and also just having it there to reference as you're doing these exercitia, it would be a really good idea. Exercitium tres. This is just open-ended questions. When you write on these, write neatly. Write small and very neatly, and try to write straight across. I remember, hopefully, before making copies of these and giving them to you, either myself or your Latin teacher, whoever that is, will make nice straight lines across that can be written on. I think that's helpful. Ubi est Roma? Ubi est Roma? It's a question. We can go right back to the book if we forgot what about Rome it's asking. So that's a where question. When you answer these, you're going to answer in complete sentences. So you're actually going to begin with Roma. Roma. And if you forget how to say where a place is, use other exercitia, right? Italia in Europa est means Italy is in Europe. If I want to say Rome is in Italy, Roma in... And then when I write my Italia, I want to make sure I'm using the macron because I'm saying in Italy, in Italia, and then put my est on the end. That's all I'm going to do from Exercitium 3. Exercitium 4. This one is about putting the endings on words. And so notice that insul is not a word in and of itself. You need to put an ending on it, right? Either insula or insulae if you're talking about multiple islands, or even insula with a macron on it if you're talking about in the island or on the island. So words of that first group go on a. Words of that second group go us to e for singular to plural, and then to a. But I guess there won't be any ablatives, any ins on here. We're just doing that top row from the chart. So Corsica, we're talking about just Corsica, right? So Corsica is just one island. Corsica insula est. Corsica et Sardinia. Oh, now we're talking about two things. Insulae sunt. Rhenus fluvius est. Rhenus et Danubius fluvii sunt. Brundisium oppidum est. Brundisium is a town. Brundisium et Tusculum. So it's giving you one island, two islands. One river, two rivers. One town, two towns. Brundisium et Tusculum oppida sunt. Oppida sunt. Sicilia insula magna est. Magna means big, and it's describing the kind of island. And so what we want on our adjectives can take any of these endings. And we want the adjective to take the ending that the noun that it's describing has. So we have insula, which is a first declension word that's singular, right? And it's in the nominative. It's up on the top of the chart. So and so we want this to have magna too. Nilus et fluvius. Oh, Nilus est fluvius. What kind of river is the Nilus? It's a big river. We want it to match river fluvius magnus. So here, both of these words mean big, but here we have a magna and here we have a magnus because of the different words that they're describing. Okay, and that is how we do exercise 4. Exercitium quinque. Sicilia insula est. Sicilia et Sardinia blank sunt. Your word bank is these over here. I'm going to do just one of these. Sicilia insula est. Sicilia et Sardinia. So if Sicilia is one island, here I'm talking about two islands. So insulae sunt. Oh, but it looks like the sunt is already there. So I don't know that some of these are always perfect. So I'm just going to write the insulae. So here's an example of just kind of use your own brain, right? Don't just blindly write down or copy down something. Notice that the sunt is there and the sunt is also already here. So just write insulae, right? Sicily and Sardinia are islands. Exercitium 6. Tusculum non oppidum Graecum. Tusculum is not a Greek town, but what kind of town? So notice how when we said Greek town, Graecum and Oppidum match, right? A Greek town. Sed Oppidum, it's a Roman town, right? Because if you look at the map, Tusculum is right near Rome. So sed Oppidum Roman, and we want it to match. Notice though that we have Romanus here. We don't have Romanum. Guess what? We're going to put Romanum because that is the correct answer. Some of these, they're not correct. They give you an idea, okay? But I'm just going to warn you again. Some of these are not all the way correct over here. And then maybe I will work on fixing them, or your Latin teacher will work on fixing them at some point. But we're going to ask that you use your brains on these. I'm going to stop this video here. Exercitium septem is just other questions that you write, kind of like the one on the previous page. And then the rest of them continue in kind of a similar fashion, but this is just going to get you started.